going into the political arena, how, and I'm not saying that that's right, wrong, and different, but how can we get back to that piece of it where everybody felt a part and felt engaged, that they had a say of what took place, as we're talking about values?
Right. I think it's obvious that, we have become more isolated as people. Now we're sending text messages as opposed to talking on the phone. Now we're sending tweets and Facebook messages. Everything's becoming impersonal. And so we don't have opportunities to build community. And one of the things that I'm a strong advocate for is that we have to find ways to build community. So a church I'm a part of right now, Saddleback Church out in Lake Forest, what we did was we found people within the church that were teachers and that spoke Spanish. And we went to a school district in Santa Ana and found out that they had parents that didn't understand the school district and the school system. Decided that we were going to find teachers that spoke Spanish and go into a school district that was primarily Spanish speaking, and we found parents that did not understand the school system. So they didn't understand what financial aid was, they didn't understand a GPA, they didn't understand a graduation track, they didn't understand the hierarchy of a superintendent, a principal, the counselors, the teachers. So they didn't understand what their rights were as parents. And so we decided to have community events where we would teach these parents the 10 Commandments of education, is what we called it. And these parents start to find out, oh wow, this is what my role in the school can be, and this is what the financial aid packages look like, and this is what a graduation track looks like. This is how you calculate a GPA. And now these parents have started to join PTA and they become more involved in their child's education. So things like that build community. Versus saying, let's have all this dialogue via Facebook, Twitter, email, that's very impersonal. And so how do we bridge back to where Miss Ruby can start having a responsibility for other children in the community? We have to have Miss Ruby interact with other children and other children's parents. You have to build community, and you can't build that from a distance. Now,
you talked about the impersonal part of Facebook and Twitter. However, we know in the last presidential campaign, that was very effective.
Right.
In November 2008, Americans came out by the record numbers to vote in that campaign. A lot of young people participated. I've heard a lot of young people say that was the first time that they were ever interested in politics and voting. In your campaign, what are you doing to continue that momentum of people, and not even just the young people? I heard a lot of Americans, even mature people, say that was the first time I've ever voted. My friend said it the other day, she's 45. To continue that momentum for your campaign and for political interest that is above the hype of what color a person is or how handsome they may look, what are you honing in on to do that, to change that?
Let me say this, what Barack Obama achieved was because of Barack Obama. People follow people, not parties. Record numbers of African Americans turned out to vote for him. 78% of those between 18 and 28 voted for him, and yet those same votes are not available to Nancy Pelosi. We're going to find out they're not available to Jerry Brown. They're not available to Harry Reid or Ed Rendell, other Democratic leaders. Why? Because people follow people, and they don't follow parties. And when we have the right people that are conveying certain messages, whether it's in rap music or whether it's in television shows, people watch stuff that Martin Lawrence is in because they like Martin Lawrence, not just any other black actor that was just good content and we watched that show, right? And so people follow people, and whatever message you want to deliver, you have to find the right person. And so what I'm trying to do is be the right person, and as I convey the messages that I believe in, we attract people. And I'm not going to change who I am in order to reach people, but I believe that if I'm the best Damon Dunn that I can be, then people will be attracted to that. Why? Because I have friends with GEDs and friends with PhDs. I've gone to the worst public schools in this country and the best private schools in this country. I've lived on welfare, government cheese, without health care, and yet I've lived with means. I've had a business that's been overtaxed and overregulated. I've made payrolls, I've created budgets, I've taken risks and made profits, I've sustained losses and learned prudence. I've lived more of the American dream and experience than almost anyone that's ever run for office. I can say better and more than any other politician that, hey, look, work with me because I'm one of you.
Right.
I've been there. And so if I share that story, then I think it's enough, and the lessons that I learned along the way in that story, then I think people will draw to it. Now, there was a critical mass that Barack Obama hit. He was not known before he ran for the U.S. Senate. That's a high-profile race. Right. It's a statewide, nationwide opportunity. And when he ran for that, he started getting a lot of attention. He spoke at the Democratic National,
Right.
Convention in 2004, which segued to him having a successful 2008, etc. Right now, I'm running for Secretary of State.
Right.
When I have the opportunity, if I'm blessed enough to have the opportunity to run for U.S. Senate or run for governor, then I too will have that critical mass of media attention that will then take my story to a level that's statewide and nationwide. And yet I still have to go and be successful where I'm at right now.
Right.
And that's what he did. He was successful as a state senator for X number of years, and he transitioned and actually won that race as a U.S. senator. I'm in that growth process, proving myself